Hi, Nancy here. One of the biggest communication issues that I see with the couples that come into my office is mind reading. And mind reading is where one person decides how the other person is thinking and feeling without checking it out. In other words, something happens and the partner just decides, I know what he's going to say, I know what he's really thinking, I know what he really means by that. When someone does mind reading, what you're doing is you're just putting the way that you would think, the way you would handle things in a similar situation into that. And not everybody thinks like you. So one of the things you want to do is check it out. Let me give you an example. Let's say your partner comes home from a trip and seems really distracted, seems preoccupied, isn't very active with the family and so forth. And you immediately jump to conclusions and you decide, gosh, something went wrong on the trip. Maybe he's mad at me. Something happened. There's going to be bad news coming down the road here. And you start to create these scenarios in your mind of what's gone on without checking it out. And again, I tell my clients, unless you have an 800 psychic hotline or your own turban, you want to check things out because how you think is different than how they may think. So how you might check it out is to say, honey, I noticed you've been distracted since you've been home. Is there anything you want to talk about? And if you start with the honey, which is a good thing, because if you start with kindness rather than anger, assumptions, fear, any of those kinds of things, you're going to get a better response. So just checking it out by stating what you see and then asking for some information. He or she may not be ready to talk to you at that point in time, but at least they know you've noticed and that you care. Another common example where mind reading takes place is in texting. So let's say you text a really wonderful message, loving message, maybe an intimate message to your partner, and he or she doesn't respond right away. Well, what's wrong? Is he ignoring me? What's happening here? You start to get all worked up about the whys, and as time goes on and you don't get any response at all, you start to get all worked up because you're not getting an answer right away, or even a simple acknowledgement would have been okay if you just said that I acknowledged my text. And people get themselves all worked up over lack of immediate response to a text and mind read like crazy, decide exactly what's going on with the other person and why they aren't responding. When in fact, what if he or she was in a meeting? What if they were handling a situation where they just couldn't get back to you? Maybe they're out of range. All those things are possibilities, but you work yourself all up and your body, your anger, your conflict inside yourself goes crazy. So one of the things you want to do is really catch yourself when you start to do mind reading. The whole goal of this communication tip is awareness. So when you catch yourself putting your assumptions into someone else, just stop, visualize yourself in your turban over your crystal ball, have a good laugh at yourself, and then pull back and just take a deep breath and have some patience about what's really going on. Having patience and stopping your mind reading is really going to improve your communication.